Welcome to a new episode of Drops of Science, the multilingual scientific podcast that selects for you the latest news in natural sciences. Our first news takes us among the sperm whales, Physeter macrocephalus, highly social mammals known, among other things, for their ability to communicate through sequences of clicks called codas. Although some of these sequences encode information about the identity of the caller, much of their communication system, including its structure and capacity to carry information, remains a mystery. A new study reveals that the vocal codas of sperm whales show a much more complex, contextual and combinational structure than previously thought. The sequences of clicks or codas are sensitive to the conversational context in which they occur and are systematically controlled and imitated among the whales. Researchers from the Cetacean Translation Initiative project focused on various clans of sperm whales in the Caribbean, among the most studied in the world. Computer scientists from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Cambridge, United States, analyzed recordings of 8,719 codas from at least 60 whales and discovered that, although at first glance the whales seemed to repeat the same calls, there was fine-grained variation in the clicks. Scientists identified two main features called rubato and ornamentation, terms borrowed from music, that combine with two other context-independent features, rhythm and tempo, to produce a wide inventory of distinguishable codas. For example, one coda was enriched with an extra click in 4% of cases. This ornament is a modified version of a short coda, rather than a completely different phrase. Additionally, the whales showed gradual variations in the rhythm of the codas, the phenomenon called rubato, where a whale, altering the timing of clicks, was mirrored by another, even if they were singing different codas. These results suggest that sperm whale vocalizations are much more expressive and structured than previously believed. This discovery opens up the possibility that sperm whales have a much richer communication system which could convey a wider variety of information. The description of what the researchers have called the phonetic alphabet of the sperm whales suggests that, although we don't yet understand what the whales are talking about, the fact that they have this combinatorial base is already very interesting. This combinatorial power is a key element of human language, which mixes a finite number of sounds into a wide range of words to convey information. This research offers a new insight into the complexity of sperm whale communication and could lead to a deeper understanding of the interactions among these fascinating creatures. We remain among marine vertebrates with a discovery concerning the evolution of their nervous system. For a long time, scientists have believed that agnatans, the jawless vertebrates like lampreys, could not form sympathetic ganglia. These are groups of neurons that play a crucial role in the fight-or-flight response of the body, which causes us to react quickly to dangerous situations. It was thought that only jawed vertebrates like fish, amphibians and mammals had developed these ganglia. But a new study by Dr. Brittany Edens from the California Institute of Technology has challenged this belief. Researchers have discovered that the sea lamprey, Petromyzon marinus, possesses sympathetic neurons in the trunk. These neurons derive from the trunk neural crest cells, a group of embryonic stem cells fundamental for developing vertebrates' nervous system. The discovery was made possible thanks to an innovative technique that labels and illuminates specific RNA messenger in individual cells of lamprey embryos. This allowed researchers to examine several genetic factors associated with sympathetic neurons simultaneously. The results showed that these cells derive from the neural crest, just like in more complex vertebrates. But why have these sympathetic neurons escaped from observation for so long? Several reasons can explain the situation. First of all, sympathetic neurons in lampreys develop at much later stages compared to human enjawed vertebrates. This means that direct comparative studies might have failed to observe these neurons simply because they were looking at the wrong embryonic development time. Additionally, the density of sympathetic neurons in adult and larval lampreys is much lower compared to amniotes and teleost fish. This has made their detection through traditional histological techniques much more complicated. The combination of these factors has led to an underestimation of the presence of these sympathetic neurons in lampreys until now. The discovery suggests that the sympathetic nervous system wasn't an exclusive innovation of jawed vertebrates. In fact, it now appears that a rudimentary sympathetic nervous system was already present in the early vertebrates. In conclusion, this is a significant step toward understanding the evolution of the sympathetic nervous system and shows us how much we still have to discover about our ancient ancestors. We now move from the marine aquatic environment to the freshwater one. A recent study has revealed that the success of ponds built to restore the ecological network and promote aquatic biodiversity strongly depends on their location and construction characteristics and project characteristics. The research, conducted in Switzerland, examined how the characteristics of the ponds and the landscape, including connectivity, influenced the dynamics of metapopulations of 12 amphibian species. Dr. Ellen Moore and collaborators from the Swiss Federal Institute of Aquatic Science and Technology (UAG) in Switzerland conducted the study. Using 20 years of monitoring data, the researchers applied dynamic occupancy models to quantify the effects of pond characteristics and connectivity metrics on colonization and persistence probabilities. The results showed that connectivity with existing populations is crucial, surpassing structural connectivity metrics in effectiveness. Ponds located within 0.5 kilometers of other occupied ponds showed a target species incidence higher more than 3.5 times than isolated ponds. Amphibian species have different preferences regarding pond characteristics, but ponds with a larger total water surface and located in areas with up to 50% forest cover favor the persistence of many species. Additionally, temporary ponds with fluctuating water levels are particularly beneficial. In particular, the green toad will benefit from large, shallow temporary water bodies in open areas. No ideal pond is equally suitable for species, but a variety of pond types, permanent and temporary, of different sizes and in different environments, will offer the maximum benefit for amphibian diversity. Careful planning in the creation of artificial habitats is important for the success of amphibian conservation. Despite their benefits, ponds are often overlooked in international legislation, which tends to focus on large bodies of water. Artificial ponds, if well designed and positioned, not only support amphibian biodiversity but also contribute to ecological restoration on a landscape scale. We now move north to news concerning two of Sweden's most important tree species, Scots pine and the Norwegian spruce. Until today, scientists believed that the growth of these trees was influenced by climatic conditions uniformly across the territory. But a new study by Dr. Friday Ogana of the Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences revealed that it is not that simple. Temperature and precipitation have different effects on these trees depending on latitude. The study analyzed 16 sites of Scots pine and Norwegian spruce forests in Sweden, distributed along a wide latitudinal gradient from 55 to 67 degrees north. At each site, at least 15 trees per species were sampled. Using innovative techniques to examine genetic and climatic factors, scientists discovered that temperature negatively affects the growth of Scots pine and Norwegian spruce at lower latitudes, but positively at higher latitudes. Conversely, summer precipitation has a positive impact on these species at lower latitudes, but a negative impact at higher latitudes. One key finding is that both trees' drought resistance increases linearly with latitude. This means that trees located farther north are more resistant to drought than those located farther south. Additionally, it was found that, compared to Norwegian spruce, Scots pine can recover from drought periods more quickly regardless of latitude. The discovery that temperature and precipitations differently influence the growth of these tree species based on latitude provides us with crucial new information for forest management. This is particularly important as Sweden is facing a severe increase in average annual temperatures and winter precipitation. Swedish forests, primarily represented by these two species, are vital to the country's economy, and ensuring their health is essential. We conclude today's episode by talking about jumping spiders, specifically Menemerus semilimbatus, known for their complex visual behaviors used for hunting, escaping predators, and mating. Recently, a team of researchers led by Dr. Narmin Ilgar Beydizada from the Department of Botany and Zoology at the Faculty of Science at Masaryk University in Czech Republic studied the link between the personality of these spiders and their ability to learn and memorize visual stimuli. Researchers conducted experiments on 91 jumping spiders focusing on habituation and dishabituation. Habituation indicates a decrease in reactivity to repeated visual stimuli, while dishabituation occurs when the response to a known stimulus is reactivated. The experiment involved repeatedly exposing the spiders to a natural visual stimulus on a screen and assessing their boldness in an arena equipped with shelter. The spiders were subjected to a visual test of habituation and dishabituation to certain stimuli. The results showed that spiders habituated and dishabituated to the visual neutral stimuli and that their reaction to the stimuli changed along a shy-bold axis. However, there was no significant correlation between boldness and learning ability unexpectedly. Scientists think that the neutral nature of the stimulus made learning independent of boldness. It is possible that the spiders did not attribute any specific value to the visual stimuli, simply responding to their innate tendency to react to moving objects. This result suggests that although jumping spiders possess a variety of complex visual behaviors, their personality does not directly influence their learning and memory ability. This opens a new path for better understanding invertebrate behavior. This concludes today's episode of Drops of Science. Thanks for staying with us. See you soon, and good science!